tokenism we did not support, which is why we guided that a lockdown, an endless lockdown, is no panacea to COVID treatment. We guided that the government would consider a structured and phased lockdown. The lockdown was communicated, this is the third week, and all of us can see that it was inconsequential. The suffering communities have no food. Those without income can't pay their bills because the regime did not communicate a thorough program, a COVID program to sustain the people and the economy. So what is their message on bills, water bills, rent, power? We are advising the masses to wash their hands, to wash with dust. So what will happen when the pipes run dry? So these are challenges that should have been addressed. So how are we going to sustain the economy? So the tokenism approach is not helping matters. And as we say, so if you cannot distribute money to the poor after 21 days, so what can you do to the people? Probably the Honorable Prime Minister is being honest. The regime is stuck. The regime is stuck. Probably they need to be honest and seek help. We are able to take over from them. We cannot be lethargic like they are. We know where the poor are. We know where those who need food are. You don't need to have a PhD in common sense to find people who need food. Now we have heard that, Mr. President, they are organizing a function. They are looking for money to organize the function on which they will start giving money. So they need money for a function, to organize a function to start giving out money. So countrymen and women, just know that in Kampala the government is sleeping. Rise and find your space. It is lawful. Demand for what is due to you. We continue to advise that the government must undertake to consider more sustainable approaches to this problem, because we have been advised variously by experts that COVID is not a simple cold that will go away tomorrow. Therefore, we still demand that more resources be put in more sustainable approaches, more enduring approaches, namely vaccination. I have seen a supplementary budget outed by the regime. We're waiting for it in the Parliament to confirm if actually they are giving more money to vaccines. So the regime cannot procure vaccines, but they can procure tear gas. They cannot procure ICU beds, but they can procure and find money for LDUs to beat up citizens. I want to invite citizens to reject and demand space for those torturing them and beating them up when they need food. They should reject it. RDCs wisecking in the countryside and other places must be stopped by citizens. I want to encourage leaders, wherever they are, to reject the empty, arrogant wisecking of RDCs, police, and other people wielding guns and sticks. This is our country. We need solutions. Not rebuking, not being beaten. We need solutions. Solutions are all over the place. We are not an island. Why can't we copy the small approaches of our neighbors with whom we are at par in terms of capacity? So we want to invite the country to continue demanding and reject the flimsy approach of the regime. Lastly, from me, this morning I heard variously from the media, the regime, out of desperation, now has reason to accuse the opposition of mobilizing people to rise up against the government because of its poor approach. Now, let me advise you. The citizens of Uganda do not need to be mobilized. They're actually up in the arms against your government, and it will fall. This top-heavy regime will fall. People don't have to be mobilized. It will fall on its heavy, empty weight. So if you are trying to intimidate the opposition that it will not speak, because you have been dubbed as mobilizing the masses against the government, I want to assure you that we have been mobilizing the people against you. We shall continue. We want to continue telling the people to reject you. You are useless. Thank you. Mubufunze njala kwebaza acting president. Sana kunyumiza mu ntebe like muwomedde nnyo mulabide ddala nga singa abadde wentemu Yesu yandi badde Yesu ga nenjala mwebaza otukulembera mu ku nsonga eno. Ensonga zitwogeddeko twazwako ekiwandiiko ekitongole ng'oludda oluvuganya mu Parliament. Mutuwane gavumenti y'amagezi ku biki ebyangu ebisobola okukolebwa okutaasa eggwanga mu biseera bino ebyakatyabaga. Ekimu ku byo twabawa amagezi nti ensimbi ze muteekateeka okukolamu ebyekyejo muzikolemu ekisobola okutaasa eggwanga, kubanga ono ssenyiga tiyavudde ku nfuufu efuumuuka. Muweereddwa amagezi abakugu bangi nnyo, ssenyiga ono akyaliwo, n'ekisinga obukulu kwe kugema abantu basobole okuba nga emibiri gyabwe gisobola okuguma. Ekyo tebannaba kikola nga bwe kirina kukolebwa. Twabawa amagezi balekeraawo okulinda ebyobwereere bya mmese. Naye n'emmese ng'eneefuna weenaabiira wakiri esima w'ekituli. Gavumenti awo ndibawa omusolo okulinda ebyobwereere okumala omwaka mulamba n'ekitundu, obwo obutemu bwennyini. Tulinza okuddibwamu okwo nga bawa abantu baleetera abantu eddagala erimala erigema tusobole okutaasa eggwanga, kubanga twagamba omuggalo ogw'olugenderezo tegugenda kuyamba ggwanga kulwanyisa COVID. Twawa n'amagezi omuggalo gavumenti eggalewo sabbiiti 2 bweggulawo, kubanga abantu bebejjanjaba bebeeriisa. Tugenda mu sabbiiti ya 3 nga gavumenti temanyi beetaaga mmere gye bali ekyabanoonya. Nakati ekyanoonya abantu batalina mmere. Twagala bategeeza nti mba mubanoonya bajja batwako essaawa yonna mubalinde. Kuba temumanyi gye bali bajja kubatuukako mubateekera ow'okutuula. Ensonga endala twawa amagezi nti gavumenti ekole ku nsonga esobola okuyamba bannayuganda okubeerera mu mbeera eno embi. Ekimu ku byo okubawaako embeera ey'obuweerero ku bintu bye bakozesa ewaka, amazzi, amasannyalaze, n'okwongezaayo omusolo gw'amayumba. Kubanga omusolo gw'amayumba omwo ne ba landlord bongeza amayumba agapangisibwa so nga abantu tebakola, tebalina ssente. Nerabye gavumenti jjo nga babyogerako ng'ebigita mu lujja nti tukubiriza ba landlord. Landlord gw'okubiriza si gwa muzimbira ennyumba, si gwa mugulira seminti. Gyewa omusolo gw'omutaddeko omuteerewo embeera naye esobola omuyamba okuyamba abapangisa be. Ndowooza ku ssaawa eno Bannayuganda banoonya gavumenti weeri. Naffe tusinzira wano tugamba nti gavumenti oba gy'oli weeraga eri abantu, oba toliiwo tujja kujjuza ekifo ekyo mwotali. Njala kwebaza Bannayuganda bayambye bannaabwe mu ngeri ez'enjawulo. Njala basaba temubayamba nga muyita mu gavumenti, mweyambagane mu ngeri y'ekiddugavu, omuntu ayambe munne. Ebyagwa eno mwabitegeera, kimwongerayo buyambi bwammwe, muyambagane ku miriraano. Mwebale nnyo tubizi.
Kayamba Simpoto nange wakambe. Thank you, Comrade Locke. Let me invite Deputy President Northern to, in 2 minutes, make quick remarks, and then we'll take your questions and we'll be out of here.
People power!
Our power!
Our power!
People power!
NUP!
Everywhere!
And everywhere!
NUP!
The de facto and de jure President of Uganda, Your Excellency Sentamu Robert Chagulanyi, very dangerously represented here and very ably. I'm very, very happy and confident of your capacity. The leader of opposition, here present. The Secretary General, the one and only, who has been the punching box, the punching bag in this struggle. Honorable Flavia, with whom we have been for a long time in the women's movement. Yes, accept, internalize it. Honorable Joel Senyonyi, and our spokesperson, my sister, Sarah. Yes, and you, the gallant faces, voices, and uncelebrated heroes, the media. I salute you today. We are here as the representatives of the National Unity Platform Party. More like we are mourning, but we are here in power. We are here in power because the people of Uganda, inland and satellite, are solidly with us. We cannot watch when a nurse in a full uniform coming from a health center at a militarized COVID roadblock in Busia is punched on her ears in full uniform. You saw it, you reported it. Her ears are damaged, she's bleeding from the ear. We cannot keep quiet. Militarization of this COVID response has totally no human face at all, Who is an essential worker? Who determines who is an essential worker? I want to congratulate you for coming up loud, representing the voices of the people. I stated it in the women's press conference on Monday. Vox Populi, Vox Dei. The voice of the people persistently is the voice of the divine. We also here reflect that if any person, any institution, any leadership, the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem becomes a nail. You hammer it. You hammer that one. Some of the problems are eggs. If you are going to break an egg so right now we have an egg. Right now we have left the masses, the consultation with the people. People have Lubiamira, Odika, Agbadia. We had ways of isolation. We had our own ways. What happened to it? Why militarize something that needs humanity to act wholesomely? So today we're here to say you have failed. You have failed ab initio. You failed actually. Up to now, you have failed. You come out and say, please, mea culpa. Forgive us. We have sinned. So that the population can actually take charge of their dignity. I end by saying, the tokenism reflects what the icon said. If you have failed to plan, then you have planned to fail. And the human beings are not going to be waiting for you because they're already acting. I totally associate with the call of the reflection of the voice of the people by the leader of opposition. Okay? Because if you stay home, you are going to die. If you come to the roadblock, you are going to die. How do you choose to die? I choose to die with dignity, with my voice. I choose to die when I am going to my neighbors to give and share with them whatever it is. So we need to continue to share the little. We need to continue to implement the doctrine of Ubuntu, humanity. Right now, what is lacking is the software of response. The software of response to this pandemic. We are hardware. We are transactional. The government of Uganda. Transactional. We now need to be transformational. We now need to really invoke a human-centered approach to this, which will be sustainable, which will be owned, because right now nobody owns this monetization and militarization. Even the military you know, in those many roadblocks, I passed through 10 roadblocks for COVID. It has failed. Please remove it, because what they are doing is extorting money. What they are doing is dehumanizing us. What they are doing is making us more angry. You have failed. You have totally failed. So as I conclude, Ugandans, it is upon us. Do not call leader of opposition, do not call Secretary General, do not call me, do not call Honorable Senyonyi, do not call our acting president. That you know right now the dead body, my so and so's dead. Please don't. We want to join you in a very sustainable response, not piecemeal. A very sustainable response. Le amotoke amasuru, ama Uganda adi woro. Onzi di amambamba le ukitri government vele onzika na di ra awadifo.
Awadifo wangiri. Uganda ochoko koko. All right, we'll take quick questions from you good people, and we shall be out of here. Yes, Paul.
Yes, this got the Secretary General. Just a quick comment. Are you concerned as a party about the continuing threats from the founding president of the National Unity Platform, Mr. Muwonge, on the way this party is run,
Okay, let's see a hand here.
Yes, ngenda buuza mu Luganda okwangu. Mu mbeereza akazigizigi mu nsi yonna mu mateeka ebintu ebisigala nga biggule bye malwaliro n'ebintu ebituusanirizi ku bantu nga kotisi okuwa justice abantu ababa basibiddwa. Akotisi za Uganda nzigale mu kaseera nga abavubuka n'abakyala ba National Unity Platform bavundira mu makomera. Mukyogerako ki nga NUP? Yanze.
Ekibuzo kye mbadde mbuuza nti babadde bakuba abantu eddagala effu nga NUP mugenda kukola ki? Mugenda suinga gavumenti oba?
Yes, Martin.
Ekyange kigenda wa Honorable Mathias. So gye buvuddeko twakiraba nti gwomu ku bakulembera nga mudimandinga Parliament ebeere nga etuula mu kifo ky'okugenda mu luwummula. Kati ku mbeera eriwo mu bigenda mu maaso mu ggwanga, kikyo kyayongera okutegeeza eggwanga okulaba nga ne gye buli eno Parliament tennaba kuweebwa mukisa ogwo.
Okay, so we'll invite Locke to respond to that question. Then I'll request Honorable Flavia to respond. There was a question about our young people and women who are rotting in jail. Honorable Flavia, you respond to that. Then Comrade SG will respond to the Chibalama issue. Comrade Locke.
Thanks for the question. When I raised the issue of these the methods of work at Parliament, I was warning against ad hocism at Parliament, and I warned that when you work in a formal setting, you choose to use ad hoc methods of work. Ad hocism and the illegality are cousins, and I insist that they actually are. However, yesterday I had a meeting with the Speaker, and she assured me that Parliament is resuming on Monday, and that we shall have a plenary on Tuesday. I believe that that's a movement in the right direction. Although belatedly coming, we shall seize the opportunity to ask a few questions and make sure that things are done right. But of course, we have lost time. Probably could have remedied so many things that have been done wrong. And we look forward to Tuesday to raise questions on COVID, on human rights, on the economy, and several other challenges. I think that was my question.
Yeah. Luganda.
Yakituufu ensonga y'okubanja palamenti ekomewo twagitekako amaanyi mangi nnyo era nga tuwakanya okuggalawo palamenti. Ekyekwaso kyali nti mu palamenti mulimu ababaka bangi abalwadde n'abakozi balwadde. Kituufu palamenti n'abakozi ba palamenti bantu ng'abantu abalala. Okubeera memba wa palamenti ekikuggyako mbeera yakulwala osobola okulwala, naye twagamba nti enkola ebaddewo social distancing, okwekebeza yeba egenda mu maaso naye emirimu gya palamenti isobola okugenda mu maaso. Bwe twali tulonda sipiika twasobola okugenda ekkololo, waki tusobola kuddayo ekkololo? Kololo yazika, tusobola kudda kololo ne tuteeseza eggwanga. Bwe twali tutongoza prime minister twali ekkololo ku ssaawa eno waliwo ki? Tusobola okuddayo mu kifo kyekimu. Naye nekisinga obukulu, palamenti esobola okukola emirimu gyayo ng'eyita mu komiti mu bukiiko bwayo obutongole. Akakiiko k'abantu 3 kasobola okutuula. Kabineti essomero ddamba ly'abantu 80 abo balituula. Komiti ey'abantu 3 erimu ekyokutuula. Naye sipiika yantegeeza olunaku lwajjo nabaddeko mu ofiisi ye. Palamenti agiyise sabbiiti ejja egenda kutandika emirimu mu butongole. Ebimu ebintu tujja kuwumbirira ebyo ebyonoonese, naye tujja kusobola okufuna omukisa okubuuza ebibuuzo n'okubaako ebitangaazibwa ku ntambuza y'emirimu.
Thank you very much. There was someone who asked about the women and youth that are still being held, detained in different jails and prisons across the country. Yeah, first of all, as NUP, we know that it was wrong and it is wrong to hold anyone in prison, especially the young people and the women of the National Unity Platform, because we know that they did not do anything. Their only crime was to support and to desire change, to support a removal of a dictatorship, nothing else. So we are calling and we continue calling upon the authorities that are still holding all these people under incarceration illegally to release them. We will not dare of demanding for the release of all political prisoners across Uganda and across regions, because supporting someone politically, supporting Honorable Kyagulanyi for president is not a crime. It is their fundamental right to support any candidate of their choice and to speak out on the wrongs and the issues that they find across the country with a free voice. So we continue demanding for that as a National Unity Platform. We haven't yet tired of that. And then I just want to add my voice on the number of issues that were raised about the COVID-19, for women specifically. The money that Honorable Nabanja is giving out is targeting a number of people with phones. But we also know that most rural women do not own, and most urban women do not own phones. Because female-headed households, most of the women use their brother's phones, their husband's phones, their spouse's phones and all. So that means that even when they are targeting people to give money to for food relief, most women are going to be left out. And yet we know that most families are actually female-headed households. So we are requesting the government to be more gender-specific and relate and respond to more gender-specific issues. For example, let them stop targeting only those households. Let them find ways of reaching, especially female-headed households, and not through phones, because we all know that you men, most of the times, do not allow the women to own phones. Muluganda, bambuza ekibuuzo eky'abannaffe abakyala n'abavubuka abali mu makomera mu Uganda abakwatibwa ng'emisango gyabwe tegimanyiddwa abataddeko emisango-sango, naye nga ffenna tukimanyi nti omusango omukulu ogwabakwasa gwakuwagira nkyukakyuka na kuwagira Uganda empya. tukimanyi bulungi si musango era bannaffe bano balina eddembe lyabwe libaweebwa ssemateeka n'eribaweebwa obuntu kubanga eddembe tebayisaba busabi ery'obwebange okwogera ku nsonga ezibaluma ng'abantu mu ggwanga lino naddala ez'ebyobufuzi n'okwagira pulezidenti yena oba kandidate yena bwe baba baagadde oba omukulembeze yenna abasanyusa. Okuwagira Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu si musango, n'okuwagira ekibiina kya National Unity Platform si musango, n'okwagala enkyukakyuka si musango mu Uganda kubanga ffenna tumanyi tuli mu kisanja kya nakyemalira era eyatuwambako obuwambi obuyinza. N'olw'ensonga eyo tetugenda kukowanga ekibiina kya National Unity Platform okugamba n'okulagira abo abakutte bannaffe bonna abavundira amakomera around Uganda okubata kubanga tewali musango na gumu bwe bakola. Twagala bonna batiibwe basobole okudda mu famire zaabwe basobole n'okwekolera emirimu gyabwe. Ensonga y'abakyala ya Honorable Nabbanja agenda okugaba ssente ng'asinziira ku masimu. Ffe twagala Honorable Nabbanja aleme kwerabira nti abakyala abasinga mu Uganda wano ababonaabona era abatalina buyambi essaawa zino tebalina masimu. Tukimanyi bulungi nti abasajja ebiseera ebisinga naddala wano mu urban areas batajetinze. Abasajja abeesuleyo gwa nagamba mu nsonga z'amaka tebakyalabirira famire. Kitegeeza nti famire ezisinga zirabirirwa bakyala kubanga abakyala balabirira famires ate abamu tebalina masimu. Twagala famire ezo ezirabirirwa abakyala bazisoosowaze nnyo kimu. Ekyokubiri twagala baddewo enkola y'okusindika ku masimu gokka wabula batunuulire engeri gye batuusa obuyambi ku muntu asembayo kubanga abakyala bangi tebalina masimu bakosaga ababbaabwe oba abamu bakosaga brother baabwe baganda baabwe abalenzi. N'olw'ensonga eyo tusaba ensonga eyo eyongere okutunuulira baleme kwerabira nsonga z'abakyala mu kaseera kano ate n'obusente bwe batuweereza butono nnyo babwongereko babuteke wati twalabe tusobole okwekolera. Mwebale nnyo mwebalire ddala.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Flavia, Acting President, Deputy President Central and Leader of Opposition in Parliament, Deputy President Northern Uganda, former leaders, Honorable Josephine Flavia, Comrade Sarah. Before I respond to the specific question asked to me, I want to just add a voice to what Comrade Flavia was talking about, to say that we still have very many of our supporters and comrades who are rotting in jails, in different jails across the country. Some are in military detention, others are in regular prisons. Only yesterday, 2 days ago, about 8 or 9 of our people were dropped in different parts of Kampala and Wakiso with severe torture marks and wounds. And some of them will be speaking to the media later on. We condemn all these kinds of criminal actions, these atrocities. Our comrades like James Mubiru and Wiser and others are in military detention in Makinge. We have hundreds of people who are, stuck, and some of these people who are dropped are the ones who the Minister for Internal Affairs, the previous one, JJ Odong, said he did not know about. But these people have been in a safe house, and all of a sudden they were dropped. Of course, as a National Unity Platform, we will come and receive the Constitutional Court decision stopping the trial of civilians in military courts. We know that the regime is desperate and they've gone ahead to appeal against that decision. And we hope that if the Supreme Court wants to remain with any worth, they will just throw it out, because indeed it is not only criminal but also laughable for citizens to be tried, for civilians to be tried in military courts. Now, regarding the specific question which I was asked by by journalist Paul Kayonga, of course, as you know, the NUP from the very start was under attack by the regime. From the time we launched it, Mzee Chibarama and other leaders came here and they told you how we handed over, how we took leadership in this party legally and officially, in accordance with the party constitution. But as you all remember, a few days later they were hijacked by the military and they appeared in court saying different things. At some point they claimed that we bought the party for $5 million US. Then they went to court and changed their statement. Then they went to court and said they did not want the party to take leadership. They went to court, and you remember everything that happened. And after that, of course, the regime has never stopped. You remember a few weeks back, together with our president, we went to see Mzee Chibalama. And of all places, he was admitted at Bombo military barracks. When we went there, we were blocked from seeing him by the military. And they said that in order for us to see him, we needed clearance from the army. Now you can imagine, the first time he appeared in public, he was surrounded by soldiers. So this is not a person who is free to speak about party matters, but what I can say is that NUP is a registered political party in this country, which is governed by a party constitution, which was handed to us on the day we took over leadership. This is the same constitution which, if you see all the correspondences they made with the Electoral Commission, this is a constitution they quoted. So this is what governs political parties in this country, together with the Political Parties and Organizations Act. So there's no other memorandum of understanding except the party constitution. That is what we follow. That's how you acquire leadership of a party, and that is how leadership changes in the party. Maybe to try to say this in Uganda. Yes. Yeah, I'm going to.
You don't consider the memorandum of understanding between people power and that leadership that we saw a signature with you and others exchanging. Is it not considered?
No, the point I'm making is that what governs political parties is the constitution of the party. That is what governs the political party. It's a constitution of the party. That constitution, in our case, for example, says that you take leadership and hold leadership for 5 years. And after that, you call a delegates conference and elect new leaders. So the leaders who are in place today came in place by virtue of the NUP constitution, and that is the constitution which we are following. As we've said, we are in advanced stages of amending it, and so that is what governs the political party and not any other document. You know, I just returned from abroad. I don't know if my Uganda is still there. Yeah, kakati ensonga esooka gye mbali yakwogerako Comrade Flavia ajogeddeko y'abantu baffe abali mu makomera abavundira eyo mu makomera nga bwe mwalaba waliwo ttiimu yava Kitalya ne babulira byonna bye bayitamu oba bye bayisamu abamagye n'okutulugunyizibwa n'ebirala. Naye kati tukyalina abantu bangi nnyo abantu nga 305 be tutamanyi wawe bali. Tetumanyi makomera ki ge balimu, tetumanyi wawe kwegamba bali mu safe houses eyo batulugunyizibwa. Mwaba abantu omwenda ennaku nga 2 eziyise babakasuka mu bitundu eby'enjawulo. Drone z'abavuga nga zibasuula, abamu ekireka, abamu ekiwatule, abalala luzira n'awalala. Bakomawo nga balina ebisago, balina ebiwundu, bafaanana bubi nnyo, era abamu bajja kuba nga boogerako n'abamawulire. So kyanaku nnyo okulaba nti tugenda mu maaso n'okulaba abantu baffe nga batulugunyizibwa, ate zikootisi ezisinga nga bagamba tebagenda kukola ki kuwuliriza emisango gyabwe olw'omuggalo. Ensonga zino ensonga za ddembe ly'obuntu zirina okuba nga zikwasibwa maanyi naddala mu biseera bino abantu baffe babonaabonera. Ekirala mbatera kuddamu ku nsonga mwami Paul gy'abuuzizza. Mzee Kibalama n'abalala bye bazze nga boogera mawulire. Mukimanyi bulungi nnyo, twali wano ffenna nga tutwala obukulembeze bwa NUP. Mzee Kibalama yali wano n'abuulira eggwanga lyonna nti twagobera constitution yaffe ssemateeka w'ekibiina. Honorable Kyagulanyi n'alondebwa nga president w'ekibiina, n'enondebwa nga secretary general n'abakulembeze abalala bonna mu kibiina. Kakati mukimanyi bulungi nnyo nti wiiki ndowooza twayisaawo emu oba 2 amagye ne gawamba bano abantu yabatwala embaale okukomawo nga tulaba batufite mu kooti. Naye bw'olaba omusango gwabwe gwe baba mu kooti, constitution eno gyawogerako gye baateekayo. Kakati ne bagenda mu maaso ne bawakanya byonna bye baali babulidde nti twabikola mu butuufu bwabyo, era nabo ne bavaayo. Ojjukira bulungi nnyo Mzee Kibalama nga bamubuuza mu kooti, oyagala kooti ekuwe eddembe lyo, naye n'akyogerako nti ye ndi musibe njagala koota empa eddembe lyange. So ennaku ezo zonna amagye ne gasalako ewuwe nga tetukyasobola n'okuba accessinga okutuuka ne tugezaako nno okubayamba tubadde nga oluusi mutabani watukubira amasimu nga tubasindikirayo buyambi era nga ebiseera ebisinga abakulembeze ab'enjawulo beekolamu omulimu ne babayambako. Bwe twawulira nga mulwadde ne tugamba katugende tumulabeko naye twamusanga mu ddwaliro ly'amagye ebbombo ne batugaana okumulaba ne twatuukayo nali ne Honorable Joel ne President waffe amagye ne geegalakasaawo ne bagamba nti musobola mulaba mulina okusooka ne mufuna olukusa eri abakulembera amagye. Kakati omuntu oyo bw'avaayo n'ayogera ku NUP n'oza oba otegeera ani abirimu oba mukono gwani okukola bino. Kyenjagala okukakasa abantu era nga Muzeeyi Kibalama bwe yayogera n'abalala obukulembeze bw'ekibiina bwakyusibwa nga ssemateeka w'ekibiina bw'erina okuba era twalondebwa ku Delegates Conference ne tukwasibwa obukulembeze obubeerawo okumala emyaka 5 oluvannyuma lw'emyaka 5 ne tukwa Delegates Conference endala ne tulonda obukulembeze obulala bwe bityo bwebirina okutambula. Ekibiina kikulemberwa ssemateeka n'etteeka lye bayita Political Parties and Organizations Act oba etteeka erya Parliamentary erirungamya ebibiina by'obufuzi so nga teri kiwandiiko ekirala ekigavaninga obukulembeze bw'ekibiina. Mwebale nnyo.
Tweyanziza ssebo omusama. Banne mwino kitegeera nti ensonga zino eza Kibalama n'endala gavumenti eziteekawo okutujja ku mulamwa ogw'okubanja obuyambi bw'Abannayuganda, emmere ne ssente z'Abannayuganda. So tetugenda kukkiriza kutujja ku mulamwa, tugenda sigala nga tubanja obuyambi bw'Abannayuganda. Bannayuganda bali bubi, bayala wiiki kati ziri 3 balinze kyakulya okuva eri gavumenti, nabbanja ne banne bali eri avimba buvimbi kati Prime Minister nabbanja ne banne. Mwino kitegeera zino ssente si zammwe, ssente z'Abannayuganda. Mukole ekisoboka mwanguyeeko abantu okubatuusaako obuyambi buno. Wano mu Kampala babyonoonye no byonoona, abakulembeze abaground bakansala n'abalala babajje mu kintu kino. Kati bapiso Parish Internal Security Officers be baregisitali be bawandiika abantu tebamanyi kyakola, abantu tebabategeera nakiiso. Tugamba nti nabbanja ne banne batereze ensonga eno obuyambi butuuke ku Bannayuganda nga ekiwundu tekinasamba ddagala. So we are insistent on this issue because we get the feeling that a diversion is being created, you know, Kibalama and so on, so that we cease to demand for food, for support for Ugandans. And we are not going to allow any diversions. We are going to be insistent on this matter and demand that Ugandans get the support that they deserve from the leaders. It's been 3 weeks, people are starving. Here in Kampala, the whole process has been messed up. You know, local leaders, councillors, and so on were thrown out of the process. It is now PISOs, Parish Internal Security Officers, that are registering people to get food, to get support from government. They have no clue what to do. They don't know the people. There is so much confusion. So we are telling Nabanja and the team not to just be there feeling very big. Now, Prime Minister, I'm in charge. The money is mine. They even call it Nabanja money. That money belongs to Ugandans. Let's expedite the process to see that Ugandans get the support they deserve. Otherwise, then what? So will government put together money to bury the dead after they have died of starvation? Thank you, everybody, for coming through. Do have a good day. We are unable to have many of them because of the COVID situation. We were deliberate about not having a tent for our leaders. We know that you need vitamin D. Yes, absolutely. So be strong. It is well. Our party president, the Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, is away, has been away, as we have communicated for some time, on official duties. He has a couple of engagements in different parts of the world, but while away, he left somebody in charge. We in NUP believe that it is not possible that only one person has got capacity to take charge of things, that only one person has got a vision. No. All of us are very capable. And so even when our team leader is away, work has got to continue because we have very many able leaders that can make things happen. So I'm going to invite our acting president, who is going to read to us a statement. The Honorable John Baptist Nambeshe, all the way from Manjia, Italy. You're welcome, sir.
The Deputy President present, the Deputy President of the Central Region, who also doubles as our leader of opposition, the Deputy President for Northern Uganda, Secretary General, the honorable members of Parliament, media practitioners. My name is Nambeshe. I'm Nambeshe John Baptist. As you have already been informed, I'm the acting president of the National Unity Platform. My superior is away on official duties, and we have come here to give you a press statement on the COVID-19 interventions. Central to the issues Uganda is grappling with pertaining to COVID-19 is the lack of leadership on the part of government that is headed by General Museveni. Everything rises and falls on leadership. But as a matter of fact, way back to last year in March, even much earlier than March, when this COVID-19 virus was on its journey from Wuhan, China, arrived here in March, and it was announced. We got that report. These are almost close to 2 years. But the government, headed by General Museveni, has failed to provide leadership in the fight against COVID-19. The more reason we have come here to give a press conference on COVID-19 intervention. The COVID pandemic has adversely affected every citizen of Uganda. Financially, socially, economically, spiritually, individuals and households have lost livelihoods. Many have lost their lives and loved ones. Let us always remember to comfort, pray, and support each other in these very trying moments. It is at these dire times that a citizen expects support from his or her government. Not as an afterthought like it is in this government, but in a cautious, well-planned, and deliberate response. For over a year now, Uganda has been grappling with the COVID pandemic, while Ugandans are struggling to pick up themselves from the ravaging effects of the pandemic. The government instead is predating on the public resources. Sensing the government was not well prepared, Ugandans arose to support its response towards the pandemic. Patriotically, they started donating money to a tune of 30 billion, and other contributions which were in kind. The country also mobilized loans and grants. The Auditor General has already reported that so far, over 11 trillion has been raised and utilized by government. Unfortunately, these public resources have been devoured by the corrupt and never served the intended purpose. Several households never received food supplies and masks. Even when it started here from Kampala, Wakiso, they never received the food supplies. Public health facilities are still constrained by lack of oxygen, personal protective equipment, drugs, ambulances. The alternative private service providers have also exploited the deficiencies of public health facilities to charge prohibitive and exorbitant costs. Many people are now unable to access professional and medical services and are dying in their homes. Vaccines are extremely scarce. You can imagine they are preaching vaccination, but so far government has received only donations of vaccines, and less than 1 million. Moreover, the population we are targeting is 45 million. So vaccines are scarce and the majority are still not yet vaccinated. As a result, the numbers of infections are soaring by the day, leading to, actually it has led to a second lockdown. In these economically challenging times, many families are left on their own. They are not earning yet. They have daily expenses to meet, such as feeding, rent, utilities, and medical care. These are the after effects of failing to plan and implementing appropriate interventions during the first lockdown. In response to the plight of citizens holed up in their homes, government undertook to offer cash transfers to the vulnerable workers in only cities and municipalities. The workers in other areas were excluded, yet they too are daily earners and are out of employment for the duration of the lockdown. According to the statistical abstract for 2020 by Uganda Bureau of Statistics, UBOS, it was indicated that Uganda has 5.11 million vulnerable workers. Surprisingly, UBOS data has been assigned with producing lists of the vulnerable workers and is now targeting to attain a register of 107 direct beneficiaries. What happens to the rest of the 4.6 million vulnerable workers? Each vulnerable worker in Uganda should benefit from the cash relief. Anyway, more still, other aspects of daily living, such as rent, water, electricity, medical care, and other utilities, should be incorporated in the computation of the cash transfer amount. These expenses have not come to a standstill. Instead, they are expended daily. Some households have patients that may have contracted COVID. Who does the government expect to meet these expenses when they are under lockdown? The assertion of the minister responsible for gender, labor, and social development that the amount cannot be adjusted upwards for the cost would be unaffordable does not hold. During the first wave, government allocated a supplementary budget of over 1 trillion towards classified expenditure on security. One wonders, to fight who? The citizens are now fighting the pandemic, and it is asserting that it cannot invest in them more than 54 billion. It is as if the relief will attain the capital fight. The citizens are going to spend the money within the same economy from which it has been mobilized. Furthermore, the registration process is elitist and flawed. It is a miscarriage, and I must say it is already dead on arrival. Government sought to exclude one of the administrative units, the local councils, from the exercise. Why, therefore, this is a question. Why relegate local council leaders to bystanders when they are the ones who know their residents and those who are vulnerable? No wonder protests have been registered in many parts of the country. Citizens are claiming their power and requiring that elected local council chairpersons should be the ones to generate their beneficiary lists. This is the true spirit of people power, our power. Let us await and see whether government will succeed in overriding people's voices and power. The most lasting intervention to the pandemic is vaccinating as many people as possible. Unfortunately, our vaccination exercise is at a snail's pace. Due to this, its miser approach towards service delivery, government decided to rely on donors for vaccines. If we are to rely entirely on donors and maintain current vaccination pace, then it will take Uganda close to 12 years to vaccinate the entire population, which is actually, they are targeting merely 21, not the entire 45 million, 45.7 million, but they are targeting 21.9 million people. But on calculation, it is only on the 2nd July that the Ministry of Health indicated in a press statement that government had just concluded initial legal requirements to procure Johnson & Johnson vaccine. It was also concluding cost-sharing procurement of vaccines through COVAX facility. What has it been waiting for all this time? This is the $1 million question. For every, they are waiting for every Ugandan to drop dead. So, conclusively, we, as National Unity Platform, we call upon every Ugandan citizen, wherever you are, either inland or abroad, in the diaspora, to hold the government accountable. Utilize every lawful means possible to claim what is due to you. They are not doing us a favor. It is a right. It is our right. It's not a favor in managing this pandemic and its devastating effects. You know, the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, in Article 189, and if you read the entire 6th schedule, it bestows upon us the responsibility, upon government actually, it talks about the functions of government at a time like this, on the control and the management of endemics, epidemics, and pandemics, including other disasters. But this government, according to this article, has failed and lost it all. We therefore call upon all citizens to understand that as long as this corrupt and inept regime is still in power, citizens will continue to suffer. It is our duty and responsibility to hasten the fall of this dictatorship so that we usher in the dispensation of a truly people-centered, people-centric, service-oriented, and accountable government. Finally, we call upon the people of Uganda who have some means to help those who do not have any means. Clearly, the regime will not help us, but we can organize ourselves and render support to each other in our communities. The National Unity Platform has been reaching out, will continue to reach out, and offer support to some citizens who are starving in this very difficult time. Thank you very much for God and my country. Now I will be ushering in colleagues, and then we shall have an interlude for questions, a moment for questions. Oh. Wacha tuingie, amini, now. Pole bana, mandugu. Katika kambi chuse bitafute mu Luganda. Naye mu Luganda nja kugezaako kufunza. Olwokuba saagala kuyingira mu biseera bya bannange. Wano tuzze kubategeezanga pate ya National Unity Platform, Kamwokya, President wa